Feels so good.
Hello, and welcome to the Rag Company podcast. Man,
Now sponsored by Pepsi and Vegemite.
how about them
How weird
apples?
is that?
That was pretty awesome. People almost didn't believe it. Had to explain in the comments on the Rag Company podcast discussion group
So many comments.
that it was
so
in
many
fact
questions.
a real thing.
Corporate sponsors.
Yeah, legitimately.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Would have thought.
Yeah. So why are we wearing these hats?
Well, you know, we have a bad habit of like wearing anything that's sent to us. So
That is true. That is true.
Yeah,
That's
it happens.
very dangerous.
I'm
as
not
well.
encouraging that behavior,
It gets,
by the way.
you know, it's just one of those things that happens.
Yeah.
normally in
It's-
life.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
are you doing right now?
I'm just taking off my jacket.
That looks very
Oh,
comfortable.
Are you hot
actually.
right now?
a little bit. Just a little warm. You know,
Wow,
wearing
look
this,
at that.
beanie is getting a little roasty toasty.
Yeah, it looks like you got a
Okay.
little black fluff left over on your white
shoot.
shirt from your
Get that
hoodie.
off there.
That's okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
Any rate.
So anyway, wow, what a week, gentlemen.
That is.
Yeah, I'm still recovering mentally because the whole thing was just such a. It was information overload, and I think you guys felt it because you were out on the floor.
Well, we were
I
the
was
ones
in
delivering the information that
Yeah.
you overloaded on.
Well, I was definitely informing the viewers as to what happened and what was coming up next,
It was just
and asking the questions.
It was
that
just
came
a
in.
lot of I don't know. It's just being on for 4
Yeah.
days. We were legitimately on. It felt like SEMA in the
Your
sense,
personality switch has to
Yeah.
be like on.
but we
Yeah.
got to sit down a lot more.
We did. Yeah,
That was
is
really
true.
the biggest
That is true.
difference.
True.
But everything else was about the same.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was fun. We had tons of people in here. If you guys didn't watch those videos yet, please
What
go
are you
back.
doing? You should be.
Yeah, please go back and watch all 4 days, 2 sessions a day, 4 hours a day. You're gonna have to play catch up because it was good. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun making it. Please watch it because we put a lot of effort into making it
The
a
most
visual.
effort, the most work.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make it really visual and a lot of fun stuff going on. Yes, you could obviously listen to the episodes,
Sure.
you know, in your headphones. Totally fine because it does a lot of information. But you know, some of our great videos that we posted, some of the company's commercials that they made.
Yeah.
A lot of people put a lot of time and effort into this.
That's true.
And I want you to be able to take a chance and look at that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that a lot of people, at least on my timeline on Facebook and other places, wrote in to let us know they were catching up on the show. Like maybe they missed a day or they missed the whole thing because they had to work or something like that. And they're like, sorry, guys, I missed it. But you know what? I'm going to make an effort. I'm going to watch this back and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah,
and
that's nice.
What do you know? That live production really paid off considering how much effort, how many people it took to make it a possibility. I feel like we succeeded. I hope we succeeded. You guys are the ultimate deciders there, but let us know. Did we succeed?
Well, and like you
felt
guys
like
are probably wondering, the big question in the room was when you did send out that picture was, wait, Pepsi?
Yeah.
Wait, what? So
Oh,
here's
that one
how
guy's like, oh.
here's how it broke down, right? Pepsi, we finally got them to come talk to us, and
I got them to come talk.
Not for
Yes.
lack of trying
Yes.
on this
Finally.
There was
episode.
a lot of trying there.
so, but it was one of those things where we were able to get them here. We are getting a vending machine for the other building for the rest of the employees and stuff, so they can also partake.
Yeah.
But once we got them here and sat down and actually got them to see what our studio is about and what we were kind of planning it on, especially with our event, TRCMA, TRCMA, they were like, oh, done. We're sponsoring all the drinks for those 4 days. And we were like, whoa, seriously? They said, yep. And we're going to sponsor your podcast in drinks and beverages for the next year.
Awesome.
Wow.
And any videos you do on your YouTube channel, we would love for you to use Pepsi products in. And we were like, okay.
We
And they're
kind
like,
of do that already.
right, we already
almost,
do
so-
that. They're just going to give it to us for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No.
don't worry, guys.
They're going to
I'm
do that
very
for a year.
transparent. I will click that
And
button
there
that
is
says,
there is no like, you know, well, Anthony, you've got to hold that can at this. They're literally, they're
no.
letting us do whatever we want.
Yeah.
They just appear here. That's
They're just giving us product to use, which is awesome. So that's what they did. They provided all of our drinks. We had some coolers, some fridges, and drinks for the whole team, the whole gang. A lot of Pepsi products. We had some Bang Energy. We had some
Lipton iced tea
Aquafina
in
water.
there,
We
like
had Lipton
all
iced
kinds of
tea that your
stuff.
dad absolutely fell in love with.
Yeah, that's
we had
true.
some bubbly that Anthony
We
picked
did.
out.
Delicious.
Everybody really enjoyed it, and we had Gatorade too, which helped
did,
a lot. for a lot of the people that work
I think
there.
the camera crew
refill our
appreciated
electrolytes.
that.
You know,
Yeah.
we lost
Yeah.
during the hard days.
But that was one of the big things. And then we did say Home to Suites by Hilton was one of our
Yes.
sponsors. What happened with that was I was looking for a new hotel for some of the people to stay at when they came, because it's what you do as a business. You try and find a set.
Corporate accommodations is what
Corporate
they call that.
accommodations.
Try and set something
Correct.
up so that you can get a good rate for
So here's
people
the deal.
coming in, and
I contacted Jen at the Hampton Inn, who we had normally had our previous corporate rate through, which is
Right.
where Dylan loves to stay. It's his
Yeah.
favorite Hampton. I emailed her and said, "Hey, Jen, we're doing this thing. I wanted to try and figure out, this is what my goal is to keep everybody in one hotel. Love to use the hotel." And she goes, "Oh, I'm not there anymore. I'm now the general manager of this brand new hotel that opened up in downtown Boise.
Wow.
Why don't you guys come check it? Why don't you come do
That
it
sounds
here?"
accommodating already.
And I
I'm
said-
already excited.
Well, here's the idea. First things first. Your dad
Mm-hmm.
was an old road dog.
Oh yeah,
He lived a long life on the road,
absolutely.
hitting hotels, traveling when he worked for Weyerhaeuser,
Well,
right?
that and being a traveling musician was a
That
big
too.
part of it.
So-
There were many years of that.
But the
so,
one thing your dad has always told us when we travel,
yeah,
what does he hate when he comes with us? He hates hotels.
yeah.
He wants Airbnbs. He wants,
I'll just speak
He's-
from experience. Younger, poorer, having a rough time. There were some places we stayed at that you never want to go back to.
but your dad's like, I just don't like hotels. So
Yeah.
Home to Suites by Hilton, right?
Yeah.
I said, "Jeff, you need to go take a tour." I scheduled a tour
yeah.
with Jen and Amy there and said, "Why don't you go down there, take a tour of the place? You're going to be the deciding factor. If you don't like it, I'll go somewhere else. But if you like it, let me know." He goes in there, falls in love with the place. He's
Wow.
like, "This is awesome. You get your own kitchen. You get your own,
No way.
living
So
room.
it's
like
you get
an
it's a full-on
extended
suite. It's a
stay
real
kind of
suite,
suite.
extended stay
Yeah.
kind
That
of
many
thing.
accommodations in one place?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Wow.
So-
Lots
so
of amenities.
Amazing.
Home 2, like the sequel.
Yep, Home to Suites by Hilton. So
Okay.
we reached out to them. Jeff fell in love with it.
Yeah.
The girls made customized cookies with the Rag Company logo
That
for
was the
all the
part that
guests
blew my mind. Yeah.
that showed up. They knew the name of every single guest as they when they were walking out. Like
Even Zaya.
their front their front desk crew, impeccable. Everybody was like, yeah, they knew who I was. Like I checked in and then I walked down. They're like, "Ah, Mr. So and So, what can I do for you?" And
Normally,
they're like, "Whoa."
normally that experience is unremarkable
Yeah.
for people who travel. They're kind of like, yeah, I went to a place, I stayed at it, whatever. These guys all seem to
Right.
say the same thing though, which was, wow. And they made a point
It's like
to
they knew
point
me.
out that
Yeah.
the whole experience is like, oh,
Yeah.
that was very nice.
Which I mean,
So,
that's huge because that's one of the things that we're all about here.
It
Is
makes
that
them wanna
level
come
of-
back, too, so
but
we
we're
look
all
forward
about
to
that
having
level
people
of
come back.
hospitality. We like taking people. That's why everybody that came,
Yeah.
first thing they did when they got off the plane was head to Boise Fry Company.
Yep.
You know, it's just stuff that we've created in the
another
lore.
friend of the Rag Company.
Another
right?
friend of the Rag
that
Company.
also offers us local discounts.
They do offer us a
because,
local. They call it
corporate
a
discount.
neighborhood discount.
They do. They
We
do.
are in
for
the
us.
neighborhood.
So,
Wow.
but it was really cool to literally partner with a company and say, look, we're going to send all of our folks that are coming to this event to stay with you. Can you please take care of them? That's literally what it is. And yeah, it's a hotel, but the level of service everybody got, they were all super impressed. They really enjoyed it. Chris West said it was his most comfortable night's sleep, which is arguably hilarious and awesome at the
apparently
same
that
time.
was like one of the absolute best
Oh,
experiences
yeah.
he'd had in a
Yeah.
very long time.
Yo,
So-
Eric loved the hotel. David loved the hotel. Clint actually was broadcasting,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but there's a lot of, everybody was there and loved it. And that was really nice, was that everybody really liked it. They all loved it. It's a great hotel. So super glad to have them on board for that. And they're basically going to be the hotel. So if you guys ever come to the Rag Company for anything, and hopefully
That's where we're
after
sending
COVID,
you.
when stuff starts, opening up,
Make
we're
some,
going to be using that.
accommodations, right?
That's
At the
gonna be-
home to suites.
Accommodate guests of the Rag Company.
Yeah,
Stay at
wow.
home to
Yeah.
suites, like they used to say in the old game shows
I
and
like
stuff.
that. That's really fun. And
So we had that, and then of course Scott from Koenig Wheels
Oh yeah.
came in, helping us out.
Yeah.
Set of
with an
Mambas
assortment
for
of wheels,
an
right?
assortment of wheels for display, and a set of Mambas for John's truck,
Yeah.
which was
That
the
was
main demo
awesome.
rig,
Which
which was
looked fantastic. right?
looked awesome on his truck. He was super stoked about it, and Scott's just,
He's such a resource.
best guy in the
Such
world.
He's a
Literally.
great person, but
Yeah.
he's also like all the stuff in his head. It's so cool to get that information out of him and like actually show to other people like, but you didn't know that about wheels, you know, and just having that opportunity to do something a little different because, you know, in detailing, it starts to get repetitive after a while.
Yeah.
And it's nice to do something to kind of break out the monotony, make it interesting again, especially for the people like us who deal with it every day. So, yeah, it's something kind of fun and it's still related. So it's not totally out of left field. It's something that actually ties in very well. You know, talking about finishes and all that stuff. But what I wanted to do, we could definitely cover all this stuff, but I wanted to kind of treat this episode as kind of a retrospective and get us to kind of talk about how TRCMA came about, how we got that to, you know, the origin of it and the process that took us from where it was an idea to where it ended up. So, you know, you guys open for that? You want to do that?
Well, Dane, it sounds like you signed us up for it. So
I know. I'm throwing that out there, so now you have to.
Sounds like we have
first
to do
things
it
first,
now.
so I do want to talk about the Vegemite.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
I know. They're probably
honestly,
wondering
So,
still.
who was this sent out by?
I don't remember.
It was Reese.
Reese, that's right.
Yeah, Reese?
Yeah.
Reese sent this out?
fan of the program.
Oh, that son of a gun.
Sent
That
us,
Graham ambassador of, you know, he is. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, sent us a
Man,
custom-made
It
Vegemite
says TRC
can
on
of
it. I
Vegemite.
mean, come on.
No, that
I've
really
never
isn't-
had Vegemite. I don't know
I've
what it
never had
is.
Vegemite.
I've heard
either.
horrible things.
And then he got us 3 beanies, all
I'm
Vegemite
loving
beanies.
the
which
loving
is
the hats
awesome.
though.
So, first off, go check out Reese Prestige Detailing's down there in Perth.
I believe so, yeah.
Perth, I think is it Perth? It's not where Mark is.
No.
No.
Mark is not in Perth, right?
I think Mark's in
We're
Perth.
really good at
Is
this.
Mark in Perth?
Oh,
Okay,
man, our
Reese
We're
geography's
still learning.
somewhere-
Apologies, guys. We're still learning the
We haven't
Australian
been to
continent.
Australia yet, right? I mean, hell, Dane called it New Zealand.
Grant just about threw me out over the fire for.
So what I want to do is I want to crack this thing open.
Oh.
Crack open a nice cold can of Vegemite.
That's not
Let's
cold.
see.
There's nothing. Just get a whiff.
Oh, this is an odd look.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a goop.
Oh, that smells. That smells pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wait,
okay.
you want to put this on peanut butter crackers?
Okay, first
Oh,
off, I know
no.
peanut butter crackers are relatively safe bet, right?
Well,
What
they
are you
were
supposed to
until you
what
put
do
that on.
Okay,
them.
what are you supposed to put?
I have no
Vegemite on?
idea.
I don't. Is it a veggie?
What does it
taste
say,
like?
Dane? Does it say?
I know it's
You
generally
spread on
something you
toast.
spread
What-
on.
So
So,
why would I
ladies
spread on
and gentlemen,
toast?
start happy with Vegemite.
Okay.
It has B1, essential for brain function, as B2, supports your nervous system,
Okay.
B3, essential for energy release, and folate to help fight fatigue. That's
Okay,
right.
Let me see this thing.
Now.
Let me see it.
It has
putting it on a
energy,
cracker.
protein, fat, carbohydrates, dietary fibers, sodium, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and folate.
Okay. So
It is.
Do you want to know what this reminds me of?
It's sounding like an energy drink right
No,
now.
listen, it's concentrated yeast extract.
Okay. What's that? Okay, what's that movie, right? Where they're stuck on that train during the snow that never ends?
Oh, Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer. Remember those things that were
Yeah, the
ground up
gelatin,
bugs that
the
they were
gelatin
eating?
bars.
Remember
I
those-
watched that the
bugs?
other. We watched that the
Yeah.
other night.
Yeah,
Kelly and I did.
that's what
It's
this
just
is.
crushed up bugs turned
In
into
paste
a
form.
jam paste.
This is what this is
Yeah.
in paste form. So I'm gonna
Sorry
see
for
what
anybody who's listening who's
Oh, it's
totally
thick.
disgusted by that because we're pretty
Okay,
disgusted over
honestly,
here.
Nick says we're supposed to be putting this on toast.
I don't.
Wow, that is so much.
That is a lot of Vegemite. That is
Oh.
that is a copious
Pretty
amount
sure-
of
oh, no,
Vegemite.
no, you made that.
Dane,
That's yours.
it's going on mine as well.
Yeah, no, that is yours.
Okay,
You
Dane-
made yours.
Dane, here you go. Cheers.
Oh,
Okay, Levi, do you want one?
No, I'm all right.
Ready?
Thank
Dane?
you.
Ready?
I want to see your
regret
guys'
this.
reactions.
2, 1. Cheers.
You have it on your finger too, just so you know. Oh, delicious.
No, this is actually might be one of the worst things I've ever had.
Dane, how's it going for you?
I can't. I can't.
Hopefully it doesn't come out your nose.
I can't swallow it. There's a lot of things in life I can swallow. I can't swallow that.
Famous last words. And ladies and gentlemen, that's right. The boys have been dropped by Vegemite. One of the best things about the three of us is that if I don't eat something, I don't have to go throw it up later. So you guys get me for the next few minutes. But I will say, Reese, thank you so much for sending the Vegemite for the boys to try. I think it would have been more fun in person had we been there to be able to do this, but at least you've got it on video and you can watch it anytime you want. So go to the Rag Company podcast channel on YouTube to watch this episode if you guys are listening to it right now. Dane and Anthony, I think Anthony's trying to scrape his tongue at the moment. I think he doesn't like having that taste in his mouth, but I can hear him yelling in the background. So point is, thank you, Reese, for sending us that. Thank you for sending us the hats. And for any of you guys that, want to send something you'd like Dane to do a food review on, this was a very weird, small, short review of Vegemite, but please send it to us. We love gifts. We love getting things. I'm not asking you to always do it, but for those of you that do send it, we appreciate it. It really means a lot. And we do try to use everything that you see. Now, man, I cannot say enough about TRCMA and how many people actually came out to this event. Now, we did set some rules in place. We had a certain number of people that we could install every day in the building, and we tried to keep our numbers down on the building count. PNS donated hand sanitizer, 2 cases of hand sanitizer for us to use in this building while we were all doing stuff. And then with Color Lock donated masks, so everybody got face masks. Now, before everybody came in every day, we did take their temperature because you got to remember we had a ton of people coming in from all over the country. And what we stated was if you had a temperature of 100.4, we weren't going to let you into the building. Now, I will say that we did have some people not show up because, one, they couldn't, or maybe they had come in contact with somebody. For those people that had to stay home, we were very bummed, but a lot of them participated in the live chat. They were able to keep up on, what was going on. So we weren't out and out without everybody. We did have ability to keep people in the building. Now, the team was really good about making sure everybody put their masks on. So if we were on camera, we took our masks off. The moment we were done talking, we put our masks up. Now, currently, we all have to quarantine in this building. So that means no one comes in or out of this building. Jeff and Carolyn, who kept coming in and out, have been the ones that have been they're working from home this week. So excuse me. So sorry. So they're the ones that are they're trying. Our goal was just not to contaminate the entire TRC team. That way orders could still get out, all that kind of stuff, just in case. Now, thankfully, all of us have stayed healthy, and we haven't had any issues over these days. So, point is, the boys are still not back, which I don't understand why they're not back. I think Dane is seriously still throwing up. Is Dane okay?
So here's the deal. I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest, straight up with everybody. That was one of the worst things I ever had in my life. I'm sorry, Reese. That literally, there is not a lot of things that I can't get down, right? I mean, even if it's bad, but that right there will haunt my dreams.
Dane, are you all right?
And I straight up, I threw up. Not like I spit it out and I kind of threw up. Like I actually threw up because I spit it out and I got like that flavor in my mouth and I said, "Yep, that's it." And then just whatever else came out. I heard Dane was throwing up as well. Yeah. So that just speaks volumes to the power of Vegemite.
I'm gonna put it in the nicest terms possible. I generally don't vomit from things that taste bad or weird.
Dane, you have tears in your eyes.
Yeah, oh no,
that was so brutal.
That was pretty bad, man.
It was just like the strangest. I think it was the peanut butter combined with it that really made the whole thing disgusting.
It wasn't the peanut butter for me.
Oh.
It was the pure saltiness and
it was
texture.
It was just like pure sodium salt.
I was not expecting that. I was basically what I was expecting was kind of like a weird, kind of maybe like a bittersweet paste of some sort. But I smelled
like
it
a black
and I
jam
said,
of some
okay, so
kind,
this is like a
but-
savory kind of thing, right?
No,
Yeah,
there's
you guys
nothing
were
savory about that.
silent
I do
and
not
savory.
savor a moment
Dane,
of that.
did you didn't savor that on your tongue?
Well, no,
You're all
Promise
about
it's
that
still
savory.
in here,
Well-
and I can taste.
Okay, listen to me though. So the ingredients, when I read these ingredients, I didn't know what to expect because it's got yeast extract, right? Which yeast, one of my least favorite words, with barley and wheat, salt, mineral salt, malt extract, color, and niacin and theanine.
Niacin just makes your skin feel hot.
So basically, this is
help you pass a drug test.
This hands down might be one of the worst
Oh,
combinations of things I've ever seen.
If ever there were like a jam form of Ipecac, that's that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty bad, man.
For those who aren't familiar,
Reese, thank you so much for sending these out. These beanies will go to good use. I will gladly wear this Vegemite beanie.
Love this.
I will never eat that again in my life.
That is like chemical warfare. That is just.
I can't believe we threw up. I can't believe that.
Wow.
I wasn't even like a.
I'm glad
thing.
that
I think
didn't.
they did that because they wanted to see us respond that way.
I'm glad because I was able to keep the show running while you two completely disappeared.
And I promise that was not an act. Like my eyes are watering for real.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Yeah. That was
And
hilarious.
somebody out there is watching like, oh, what a bunch of wusses. Come on, you couldn't handle a little Vegemite. It's like
little nom and bomb, there, Dane?
If you're not used to a flavor like that, there's nothing that can prepare you for.
You know what kind of flavor I like? Miami Cola.
Wow.
Bang.
Well,
One of my favorite flavors.
I got me
courtesy of
some
our
Diet
friends at
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
I think this is wiping it away. I still taste some peanut butter with a hint of Vegemite, but
yeah,
it's gonna be all right.
Anthony, what time is that? What time is it? Over your shoulder there.
On the Pepsi clock here.
Let's see if we can get that camera. Look at that. Oh, beautiful.
11 o'clock, which is pretty great.
Wow.
So,
lovely.
What I want to do is like Dane was saying beforehand, right? Kind of how this whole thing came about. I don't know how much you touched up on.
All I did was talk about like our safety precautions that we set up in place for every day, and that was where I was at. Was basically like, who donated what, how we did our checks, how we used to take our masks off when we were on camera, but when we were off camera, everybody in the building had masks on, and that was where I got to.
Those are important to note. I mean, I wanted to bring up like going way back to when it originally was just an idea when it started.
I was waiting for you guys with that, but point was start of TRCMA. Originally, back in August, we had planned on doing a live event with Justin Pate and the Rap Institute. And we had started reaching out to certain companies to say, hey, would you be interested in paying for this event? Would you be interested in paying for, to be a part as like a sponsor of this thing? Sure. And people were very open to it and said, well, yeah.
Because at that point, it had already been months since there had been many live functions or anything.
Right.
And
so everyone was like,
gonna...
I got a whole marketing budget I haven't used. Sure. So we were like, oh, okay. Well, Avery Dennison, spikes started happening. So they said, hey, we're going to cancel. We're not sending any trainers out. So we were like, dang it. So that first live video idea disappeared. And we were like, all right. Oh. Then through discussions with other friends and people that I had talked to, finding about like what the trade show industry itself was going through. And a lot of the trade show companies, not trade shows, but trade show companies like Skyline that build sets
for the companies to use at trade shows.
They were hurting.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no trade shows, right? So they started looking at virtual events. I listened to one of my friend, Nicole Klein, who started her own company. Great idea. Started in the middle of pandemic. She was like, I'm trying to change things to make it work. So she started working on virtual trade shows, and I just listened to her tell me about some of the ideas that she had. And I started thinking, how do we put those into place here with the ideas that we have of what we can do with this studio?
Because we tried to design this to be almost like a TV studio.
Right. So I remember I walked out after I got off the phone with her. I walked into your mom's office and I said, I have an idea. I think we should do we should have something planned for a virtual trade show of some sort. And we have VMix. And my original idea was just see if we can set up interviews, not have people come in, but set up interviews to do this event. Right. And she goes, well, let's think about it because you're right. SEMA may not happen. Then SEMA didn't happen.
Yeah.
And we were already in the ideas. We had all gotten together. And then we were like, well, what if, a lot of people started putting in ideas. What if we did this? What if we did this? What if we did this? And out of that grew what we built in 4 days of morning and afternoon content of the companies, of the brands, who should do this, why should we stand here, let's have us host it, let's do it more like a top tier style show, or a grand tour style where you got 3 presenters, you got this. Then Sun Valley Road Rally also happened. Sun Valley Road Rally happened. Dane was watching it and goes, "Oh my gosh, you guys!"
Oh no, the one I was watching was one
Tour
in
de Force
Utah.
or whatever.
Max,
the Utah.
Max was a presenter on it.
That's right. It wasn't Sun Valley Road Rally. It was the Utah.
It was in Utah. It was the Cars for Kids Foundation.
Live
like
event.
Lux was involved with it. It was a whole thing.
Live event. You watched that and you came back and said, "Oh my gosh, did anybody watch that? This is my idea."
It was fascinating to watch because it was basically playing out the way I'd envisioned something might work for us. Not with cars racing
because we all
along
had met and
a closed down
these,
public road.
We had these ideas.
But Max, for those who don't know, if you look back at our Wash Wednesday series, Max had brought us 2 very cool cars we had on Wash Wednesday, which was a Porsche 959 and a
Alfa Romeo.
Super Biscione Alfa Romeo Giulia. And 2 very interesting cars, but that's kind of his thing, is like, getting those obscure cars for clients and stuff. And he's really excellent at it, but he was a host sitting at a table presenting this like top speed event, kind of timed event. And I was watching going, I want to do that. That looks cool. I think that would be a fun way to do that. And I kind of been imagining something like that where we use this studio as like the news desk and then the action is happening out there. And I thought, there's got to be some way we can definitely coordinate the two through our, broadcast system we've been building up this whole time during, the pandemic. We've had a lot of time to build up the studio.
And the worry was that, is it just a podcast?
Right.
Is it just a YouTube video that we built?
Yeah,
or can we add some production value to it?
Your real fear is that, well, of course, given the circumstances, who's going to show up? Are they going to be able to show up? What are the limitations? Well, what can we do that'll actually get this to
and then
be
our
compelling
friends
visually?
And then in Germany, Otto Lackhoffen.
Yeah.
Right when we had an idea and we're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I started making phone calls and let everybody know, hey, this is my idea of what we're going to do. Otto Lackhoffen that weekend for 4 hours did a virtual trade show where they did it like a TV show.
And I'm trying to remember, was that just one standalone show?
That was one standalone show for 4 hours. And Rag Company Germany showed up. Timo did a great job explaining stuff. Lars from Color Lock was there, did a repair.
I didn't understand a word of it, but I understood what was going on just by watching
but
it.
There was but they had the same thing. They had produced portions. They had commercials. They had live chat. They had tons of stuff going on. And I was like,
proof of concept right there.
Yeah, that is literally what it was. I was like, we now have an idea. And then I sent that to people who said, what are you going to do? And I sent that to them.
Kind of like this.
And this is kind of our idea. I know it's in German, but watch and you'll get the gist of it. And a lot of people came back and said, I'm in. Now, that was the hard part, was going, how many people do we bring in for this?
Right. And how do you select who gets airtime? How do you divvy all this
That
up?
was the biggest thing, was breaking it down into airtime for everybody.
Because that was the part that almost didn't happen until the very last minute, was getting everybody organized into their respective, because you get people on board, they say, yeah, I'm all for it, and then they drop out at the last minute due to a complication.
Right.
Or, whatever health, any number of things can happen. So that's the risk of running and scheduling a program, is you don't know from the time you start it who's going to be available by the time it actually goes down.
But it all worked in the end.
Yeah. So what you saw was, like anything like this, it was a compromise ultimately that were made, but I feel like we did absolutely the best we could have done with the given circumstances.
Yeah. Well, and it was what I liked was the idea that I had when I came to your mom was nothing like what we put together.
No, it came out better.
It came out better, and it was awesome because everybody had an idea, and it grew.
Yeah.
And then when we got done, we were like, what else can we do? What if we did it this way? What if we did it this way?
We were
what
excited.
if we did these things? How if we changed it that way?
Because we actually saw like a real success in that, and things didn't totally fall apart. And you went, oh my God, this actually worked. And it feels really good to have a success under your belt. But then, where do you take it from there? What do you do? That's kind of where we're figuring out what happens next.
So if you guys have any ideas on how you would change it, please send it to us. We would love to see all those.
Feedback is always welcome. And
just
of course,
because it's literally a very new thing.
Yeah. There's flexibility in many areas as to how we can do this. Some spots not so much, but that's just because of technical limitations or something like that. But we definitely want to push the boundaries of what this place is capable of. So we're going to try and, you know, expand things within reason where we can. But I thought we did. I mean, it was a really valiant effort.
Yeah.
So I was super happy with how it turned out. But yeah, let's go back into the history of it again, kind of keep touching at that. So we were getting the things all lined up, but we hadn't quite gotten everybody situated as to who was going to be on and when.
That
and all
was
that.
well, and that was the hard thing because you know you've got to look at it from all the brands that we had.
Yeah.
You know, I sent it out to every single person that is part of the Rag Company group. Basically, all the brands that we use, everybody. I did get crickets from some people, where it's just silence. Nobody said anything. They didn't write back to us. They didn't say, "Great idea."
It's it's not an aggressively bad thing either.
No, they
sometimes
just
people just
didn't
miss the message.
They just didn't know, or they didn't. It got hit their spam or
Yeah,
whatever.
falls in their spam.
So, but I was amazed. You know, we had like Dylan and PNS and G Technic that were like in.
The
done.
people who've already
Like,
done
as
stuff
soon as
with
the
us,
email went,
they
no questions.
know.
They're like, "We're in."
They know what we
Yeah.
can do, so they're stoked for it. They're like, "Oh, if you guys are, you know, doing this, we want to be a part of it." And that's really, you know, that helps us get a little more confidence in what we're doing.
So what you saw was, if you're wondering why there were larger time blocks dedicated to some people, was because they've already been on our channel. They already know what they're doing, and they were the first ones to say, "Yes, I'm coming. Done. No problem. No questions asked."
Yeah.
You know, Rob at MTM Hydro, same thing. He was one of the first that was like, "Yeah, I've never been there, but I want to come out and see what you guys are doing."
He's got a great attitude.
But he knows us. He knows the three of us. He sees what we do. He sees what our YouTube channel, even though he hadn't been here, but he was one of the first that said, "Yeah, in. I'm in. Whatever we need to do." And he had committed. He's like, "I'm coming." Now,
the last
some
few
of the
years
other
we'd had a
some of the
booth
other
near him,
teams,
too.
some of the other companies were last minute additions, you know, which is why they had shorter time, because we had to try and figure out how to fill in that quick of a time period as to how to get them in, because all of a sudden they said, "Hey, we're going to be there." Okay. Now, to their credit, a lot of stuff went on and they just forgot to write back. They forgot. And they literally said, I wrote back saying, "That sounds awesome," but then never hit any of the deadlines that we had put out. And then all of a sudden called and said, "Oh my gosh, is there still time for me to come and do that?" And but those turned out great, you know, at the same time.
But that was the really fear for me, was being the one who's promoting all this stuff online. I didn't want to false advertise. I didn't want to say, "Yeah, this company's going to be here," and then have that company not show up. I didn't want to do that. So if people felt like, "Oh, I wish I'd known about such and such company being on there. I wish you had said something." It's like, well, I couldn't say anything until I was positive they were going to be
Charlie
around.
Hutton was the biggest.
Yeah,
like
Charlie Hutton was a huge mystery.
You were calling me.
Maybe you'll show. Maybe you won't.
Yeah, you were calling me. I think it was Monday
Frequently.
night. I think Monday night you texted me and said,
Are we on? Are we on?
"Do we know anything about Charlie?" And I said, "Dane, I think it's going to be tomorrow morning before we find out anything."
Because you don't want to be the person who says, "Yeah, Charlie Hutton's going to be at our thing," and then he doesn't show up, and then you look like a jerk for
Charlie
having
had
promised
committed
something. That,
and was going to be with one of the companies that did drop
Right.
out.
Yeah.
but he
And-
also said he had a project.
But
that he
he also, and the reason he dropped out, and the other reason that company pulled, was they're like, "Well, he can't be there. We can't do this. It's just too much work for us to get over there." So they backed out. The good news was Dylan was coming to town, and part of his visit to Boise was to go visit Charlie. And so we had asked, "Hey, can you talk to Charlie?" He already said he'd come on.
Yeah.
See if he can. And so Dylan went and goes, "Okay, here's the reason. He's working on a car. If he can get the clear laid, by this time, he'll hop in his truck and drive over. If he can't get it laid
He has to
properly,
work
he's
on it.
got to get it done."
Yeah.
He says, if he comes, he's only here for like an hour. And wow, that man stood up to it.
He
was
did.
here, showed up, and confirmed.
He was great.
And,
He was
and
so good.
awesome guy, and it was so fun to see him again and have him here in the studio. But it was right down to the knuckle, you know. And Dane was sweating because he was
Because I don't like making promises I can't keep.
Yeah, but once you got the okay, you sent it out there. And
I was
said,
like,
"All right,
he's
here
in
we
the
go."
thumbnail.
Yeah,
Sure hope he's
but
here.
you made different
Yeah.
thumbnails for that issue. So
Well, it turned
kudos
out
to
good.
Dane for that. But the big one, Nick, and Gabe getting this
Yeah.
planning all done, and Tim designing every single animation.
Without those guys, Nick doing the live mixing, Tim creating those awesome graphics that transition from one to the next, and Gabe floor directing, making sure all the camera people were in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time. It wouldn't have been possible without that team behind the scenes, not just us behind the scenes, but those guys behind the scenes, making all that stuff a possibility. That's the part that a lot of people miss because they don't see it.
No, that's the one thing that I don't think a lot of people think about, right?
Yeah,
Every company that was here was like, holy crap.
They all said, they're like, oh, this feels very professional.
Well, like that room is like a mainframe. On the other side of this wall here, you walk into that thing, there's LED lighting everywhere. There's fans, there's all these modules running, and you walk in there, and like basically no matter what, Tim, Nick, Gabe, whoever's back there, it'll be like seeing like a deer in the headlights when somebody walks in. They're like, what are you doing in here? You shouldn't. You can't see how this sausage is made back inside this building. It's crazy. There's lots of wires. There's lots of gadgets, and it's not somewhere where you want to go. What does this button do? Oh, what does this button do? What does this button do?
It's a good thing. I'm surprised you haven't gone in there and just started pushing buttons.
I don't want to die, so I'm going to stay out of there.
But it was awesome because and I kept telling Jeff this. Once they get here, once those companies that we've maybe had an issue with in the past, or we've had struggles trying to get them to kind of see our point of view,
we promise this will be worth it for you if you can just
it was
show
like
up.
Once they get here and they see what we have and what we're working with, then it's a no-brainer at that point. At that point, they see it and they go, oh,
We've spent a
know what you
long
guys are doing
time
now.
being kind of a scrappy company, kind of like trying to like make our mark and figure out how we fit into the greater landscape, because a lot of it has been people will look at you and go, oh, you're a little, microfiber company or something. That's nice. Moving on, you know, and they'll just ignore you. And it's like, okay, we're just going to keep putting stuff out there, trying to be interesting, dynamic, different where we can. And eventually maybe people look back and go, oh, I shouldn't have, ignored them. Now it's, I gotta talk with them because this is an opportunity and I see it now. And that's happened more than once.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we used to be the company that had a one GoPro
Yep.
that would go up to somebody and say, hi, can we shoot a video with you? And they're just like, what are you? We're a microphone company. How many followers do you have? Not that many. What are you going to use to shoot this video? This one single GoPro.
Do you remember when we tried to pull off that podcast with everybody at Mobile Tech? And I remember Jason kept going, I said, I think we could do that. We could podcast it. And he's like, do you guys have any podcasting equipment? And I said, well, we have some microphones and we have a couple
I bought
Zooms.
a whole bunch of microphones to run off of a laptop, and that laptop and the plugins with the XLRs ended up just not working.
It didn't work on that day, but I remember going
the whole thing crapped out, and we were on the road,
because
so we had no backup.
Well, and I remember he kept going well, I don't know if I want to do this if you guys don't have everything, and so-and-so has everything, and they could do this, and I could
was
get
back
that. And I
before
was
they
like,
knew us very well.
But they didn't
Now
know,
they
nobody
get it.
there really knew. That was only our second year, and that was the Mobile Tech where our case didn't show up.
Yeah.
And we had to have a little tiny
The first time
banner,
we went to go work on Adam
we had
LC's car, and we had no products,
and
so
we had
to,
5
scavenge the show.
And Jeff and I had 10 towels on our table because nothing showed up. And the only towels we had were the ones that Jeff had put in his bag for show and
all
tell.
All of our stuff showed up the day after we left.
Yeah, but I mean, I think about that hard scrabble, trying to get stuff done, trying to do things with what we had, but we've always just worked with what we have. And so this was the first time where we were
adapt.
we have everything. Holy crap, I can't believe we pulled it off.
Oh,
and I your dad had tears at the very end, He was just so blown away by it.
Vegemite, I imagine.
Not because of the Vegemite, but super stoked and super excited to have it. But the point was, we couldn't have done it without our team behind the scenes here.
Yeah.
They made it possible.
We couldn't have done it without the Capitol High Broadcasting team.
Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to those guys. Seriously.
So Gabe brought in a bunch of his old students. Well, they're still students, but he's not
Many are graduates,
teaching.
though.
But we had a couple graduates. We had some kids that are still in high school here.
On his video classes.
And he split them up into 2 different teams, and they'd come. So we had a couple new faces. We only had a few that were there every day.
Yeah, there was some overlap.
But we did have some teams for different timing for the different kids, and they got to have some experience.
Yeah, it's
actually
real
broadcasting
world
experience, which was cool.
Running the gear, doing all that. And it's extra credit for them, basically.
Yeah.
It works towards,
it also kept our costs down. Because if we would have had a hired
realistically,
cameraman,
that's also the case.
Grips and all that,
But
we did give those kids some money, but it was
Yeah.
much cheaper than.
I went through that video program. I know how good it is. I know how good those guys are. And Gabe, is the one who runs it now.
Yeah.
I like to think that Gabe started taking it because I suggested, I really like that video class. And sure enough, he took over for the previous teacher that I had. So
There you go.
that was fun. But
Yeah.
I think it's really worked to everybody's benefit. And those kids really seem to have their eyes open to like what's possible too. Like actually seeing the way we did this. It's not a football game. It's not it could have been any number of things, but it's not something you think about. It's like, oh yeah, I went over to this microfiber company and we shot a trade show educational video series live with thousands of people watching, and there was a commentator and there were graphics and all that stuff. Like it's such a obscure specific thing.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else like it. So it's a really interesting experience to have on your resume now.
Yeah. It was pretty rad.
agree.
I don't know, Anthony, do you have anything to add to the whole experience?
Yeah, I would say that, it was, and this is just being completely open and honest with you guys, there wasn't a whole lot of scripting planned. There wasn't a whole lot of anything planned. In terms, we had the idea of everything we wanted to do, right? And we had the features and the people that we wanted to highlight and spotlight. But for the most part, man, I think every single day, me and Levi looked at each other and we were like, okay, what are we introducing today? How are we talking about this? And he's like, I don't know, let's just wing it, right? And so every day, while we knew the direction we wanted to go, it was definitely a different level of stress than we normally have. Kind of, I don't want to say winging things, but just talking as we do.
It was the first time. It was the first time I ever felt anxious.
Yeah, I was like, actually, like, okay, there's a lot of build up to this, and it was. Definitely like you can tell if you watch the videos, you can tell that we are confident, but we aren't the normal level of like how do you say that?
Our stuff when it's pre-recorded or live, like sitting here hanging out.
Yeah.
Because
there's many variables. You have so many.
Well, because there's 10 students watching us. There's our entire team. There's all of the vendors and everybody watching us, and they're all like, everything is live down to 3, 2, and we're like. Don't mess up.
Well, there's little technical difficulties that throw you off your game, right?
Yeah.
So we had our earpieces in, and every once in a while they would cut out. So you'd hear Nick go, okay, 5 seconds, and then you'd see Gabe do it, and then we would say something. We go, all right, we're live, thanks so much. And then we'd hear, go throw it to Dane, and we'd throw it to Dane, and then we couldn't hear anything, and then we'd look at each other and go,
what's going on?
And the monitors we had didn't have volume on them. They were muted. So then we're like, we can't hear on the TV because we don't want that coming back. So then Anthony and I are just sitting there until all of a sudden Dane pops into our ear, and we're like, so it looks funny in some of them, but that's just the point of learning how to do it.
Broadcasting
and honestly, I think it looked good. I think it brought the actual fact that it was live. This is a real deal. And I think we're trying to do this.
A lot of detailers and people who are into detailing appreciate the live aspect because
it's no BS.
There's a very strong contingency amongst detailers of skepticism and
exactly.
you're going to pull a fast one on me. Oh, don't pull the wool over my eyes.
And that's
it's like
key to the sales of products.
You can't fake that.
Detailers don't like seeing just a salesman.
Right.
They want somebody to show them, hey, this is how I use this product. This is how it works. And let me show you what I do.
Yeah.
Then they're like, okay, if that's what you can do, then I can do that. But if you go, hey, here's how we're going to do this, blah, 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 they're like, So I think if we were too polished and like on and perfect, they'd been like, okay, whatever,
it's a
guys.
QVC episode.
Right.
And we joked it was QVC for detailers.
Yeah, but because it was us kind of cutting in and out and what happened to Dane? Is Dane on? Like that... I think all that worked in our favor because it held that retention.
It still has to humanize us. Yeah, we can't be too...
And
I don't think we'll ever be that polished. I don't think we'll ever get to that point.
That's not our style. Our style is like you can have high production value, but we're still kind of like flying by the seat of our pants. Like we understand the subject matter, but we're not going to be like, oh, I had that word at that point and that word at that point. We're not going to dial it in.
Well, that was hard because it felt like it constrains us.
Right.
Too.
Well, it constrains you, and then it also puts more pressure on you to, for example, especially when you're doing detailing stuff, right? When there's so many different variables on pretty much anything involving detailing, whether you're polishing, whether you're using a new product for the first time, whether you're, what it doesn't matter what you're doing, but there's so many variables there to where I feel like if there was the stress that something had to be so polished and perfect, that if that one particular detailing product didn't work out for that job, or for example, we messed up on something or whatever could have happened, right? Then that would be so much more, I don't know. It would be so disappointing if that didn't work out, and they would feel like, man, this really feels more like a joke than it really is us trying to do these things and show you for the first time. Like, for example, when I was ceramic coating those Koenig wheels, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if that ceramic coating weirdly streaked on that paint finish or something like that, or the temperature was wrong. Maybe that bottle had been cracked open, had been open for a couple days, and it dried out,
and you
or something.
had no idea, and
I had no idea.
Open it.
Like, I feel like, if it was, the expectation was to be so polished and so perfect, right? Then that really would feel like, it wouldn't feel natural, wouldn't feel normal. But if that did happen on camera, right? Let's just say the coating didn't react well to the wheel.
Sure.
We could still be like, well, dang, that's crazy. and we could play it off like how we normally do.
There's always
no
a
pressure.
tightrope act. It's always a danger doing stuff live like that. But I don't know about you guys. I enjoy that. It's exhilarating, but at the same time, you also hope things go right because you do your best to be prepared to, I think we, amongst our peers, are probably some of the best of being able to work in a dynamic environment that's constantly changing, where you're presented with an issue or something happens, you're able to adapt to it. You're not stuck in your script where you're like a robot and you have to my script said I have to say this. It's like, no, you can roll with the punches. You guys are both equally adept at being able to handle a scenario that's thrown at you that wasn't what you expected, but you know how to handle the moment, explain it to the audience so they understand what's going on, and resolve the situation.
Well, Dane, for example, a live that we did a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago, I dropped an entire wheel rack.
You did.
And that fell with Jimmy's wheels on it.
Yep.
And I'm like, well,
that's
crap.
gravity.
Yeah.
That happened. And Jimmy, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to do. I feel like I've been caught with my pants down. And this is an awkward situation for everybody. But you know what? Cleaned up the wheels, checked them out, inspected them, said, hey, we're good to go. Let's keep moving on, right? And don't hang up on something too long because
commenters love to do that. They're like, "Oh, did you see the?" It's
no,
like, okay,
well, it's just like in that in Superbad, man. People don't forget, dude. It's just people don't forget, and so I will remember that forever. And you guys can probably remember that forever too. But overall, though, yes, thank you to everybody that made this possible through everybody viewing, because you have to understand a big thing too is that we're watching how many people are viewing us live, right?
Yeah.
And when we see those numbers going up and up and up, it makes us happier. It makes us feel like it gives us more confidence that we're doing something right? Yeah. And so whether you are even watching actively or literally just clicking it open and having the screen open, heck, I don't care. It built confidence and it helped us. And so we want to thank you to everybody that did view live or that has been watching after the fact. All of the vendors, all of the corporate sponsors. We want to thank all of our friends, Capital High School, our media team, and then obviously Jeff and Carolyn for allowing us to go on this crazy adventure. What happened?
It's just getting hot.
Oh, wow.
So
you're really changing
how
it up.
many pieces of Pepsi clothing do you have under all that? And we also want to thank Pepsi, right?
Well, I mean, really, that's the biggest thing that I'm most surprised about all of this is that we were able to get Pepsi to help us out with this whole thing. That you guys don't.
It's a dream come true for you.
It literally is, and it's one of those things. I was going to send it to Nick earlier. I didn't. I'm going to post it on the Rag Company podcast discussion group, but. Story is 1978 or 1974. Sorry, my dad and his best friend were running race cars. They've been doing race cars since 70, I think. 1970. They're about 16. They'd go to an oval track here in Boise called Meridian Speedway.
Oh yeah,
and they would run every weekend. They would do races in the spring and summer.
What was your dad's friend's name?
Crow.
Good old Crow, man.
As we called Unky Dan.
Yeah.
But it was Dan Crow. Now, Crow and my dad they'd work on their race car, and my dad and Crow have some hilarious stories together that I'll probably talk about on the Master of Shine at Home podcast.
There you
go. The fun thing was in 1976, they fully became sponsored by Pepsi. And they were sponsored by Nagel Beverage Company, which is the company that owns the distribution rights for Pepsi in Idaho.
Yeah.
Now, they got, in 1976, they got a 76 Chevy Laguna S3 race car, which was still a steel body. It was a straight up steel body car, but they put a race car engine in it. They tore the interior, put a cage in it, put the axles and all that stuff on it, painted it blue, Pepsi blue, with red and white racing stripes and the Pepsi logos on it, number 21. And then they they got that car, they got a trailer, all from Nagel Beverage, plus they got a 78 Ford pickup that hadn't, this was like right when 77 happened. My dad said,
before it even came out.
My dad says, I don't know how we got it, but we got a 78 Ford F-350 to pull the trailer.
People look for those now.
Then they also got a 77 Eldorado. So one would drive the truck with the trailer, the other one would drive the Eldorado, and they would start touring. They went all over the Pacific Northwest and down into Salt Lake, down into Utah, down into Nevada, and they'd hit all these racetracks. And they just did the circuit.
Yeah.
Nagel himself would fly in to wherever their racetracks was, stay with them for a few days, drive that Cadillac around. My dad said he was paid $100 per diem every day in 77.
70s money.
77. It's a ton of money. He said they'd be on the road for 2-3 weeks, and he's like, we wouldn't spend anything. Gas, like you fill up the truck, it was less than $2 to fill the truck up. It was
those are the days.
He's like, it was crazy the amount of money we didn't spend because everything was so cheap and how much they paid us. So growing up, because of that, Crow never drank anything else other than Pepsi. If we'd go to a restaurant and they serve Coke, he'd say, I'll just take water. And he would drink water. Or he'd pull out a can of Diet Pepsi himself that he'd have one.
I brought my own.
Always keep that.
Don't worry.
Always keep that thing on me.
Yeah.
Right? So that was how I was raised. Was just raised that, like, I'd watch my dad and his best friend. We'd go to have lunch, get a cheeseburger, whatever, and that's what they do. Then they'd only eat at Pepsi restaurants. They were loyal, right? They became loyal because they helped them out. My dad's like, I bought my first house because of Pepsi, because of what they did for me.
Wow.
So all the memorabilia, like what you're seeing I'm wearing, is what I grew up with, right? This isn't old stuff. This is all new stuff, but this is what my kids get to see, right?
Yeah.
So the way I grew up was my dad always having Pepsi stuff on. We always had Pepsi soda, always Pepsi products. My kids are now reliving that. So it's kind of a joke. It's part of like just my lore as a kid and growing up, which is why I've always used it and drank it. And that was my thing. And it was something that I thought would be fun for our podcast, for the YouTube channel. Yeah. And it's along the lines of what we've always talked about, you know, but to have the company to literally work at it. And we've gotten rejection letters.
Oh, sure.
From Pepsi. I've actually fortunately
rejection and a t-shirt.
Yeah. And we've gotten, but there are so many great listeners and fans that actually work for Pepsi, that listen to our podcast, that watch our YouTube channels, that do all this stuff. And they've sent us letters. They've sent us t-shirts. They've sent us products. And that means a lot that, you know, you guys are listening, and that even if you're not a detailer every day, that you're doing your normal day job and you're listening to us means a lot. Yeah. So for those of you that are Pepsi delivery men or working at the Pepsi bottling plants around the country, and you're listening to our podcast, and you're listening to these just three dudes in Idaho talk about microfiber and jokes and stuff, thank you, because I used those items that you have sent us to help push us to get this. And with that, it allowed us to at least keep everybody hydrated for those 4 days. And it means a lot. So
it's more than just the drinks. It's the memories you built with it. It's all these other things that are tangentially related in some way. You can all tie it back to that. It's a through line from your childhood to now.
Exactly. And it's also one of those things where, you know, you look at as a kid, when you look at things like maybe your parents have done or your dad has done, And as a son, you look at these items and you go, it'd be cool if I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dad did that. I wonder if I could do that. And a lot of children feel that way
Yeah.
about their parents. They always look at these goals maybe their parents completed and go, damn, that's pretty rad.
Even if it's not active, there's some part in the back of the head that's like, if I can achieve that, then I'll know I've like made it successfully in my life. That okay, I at least managed what my parents did.
It doesn't
and then
need to be that
hopefully-
exact goal,
Yeah,
but it needs
hopefully
to
go
be that
beyond that.
maybe that mile
Yeah.
marker. You know, I'm sure you have that with your dad.
Sure.
Where you're like, if I could do this, then
Yeah.
I'll know I beat him. I know you probably have those same kind of things with your parents, to where you can go like, hey, I look what I'm doing. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah.
You know, for me
Generally-
it was, well, my dad got sponsored by Pepsi. I'm gonna get sponsored by Pepsi.
Mhm.
You know, like, why not?
And it's not competitive. It's just there's some sense of like it's like a life completion thing.
Right.
It's not bucket list, but it's
kind of a
related
bucket list.
to that.
Kind of a bucket
Like,
list. but-
okay, I've got that. I can rest easy now. I can feel good about having made that a possibility. Even if it's just for a month or a year or something like that, it's like, at least I know I always have that. I got
Right.
that. I did that. Something to feel special about. Because most parents want their kids to do better than they did.
Yeah. I will admit though, Vegemite not on my bucket list.
No.
Okay, that's good to know.
I will go
Once
ahead.
again, dig the hat.
Dig the
Not
hat.
the actual.
Love this hat. This hat's amazing. It's very warm and very comfortable. I'll never eat that again in my life.
No.
All right, so let's do a quick recap here, because I know people miss us talking about our weekends. It's been 2 weekends since we've talked
It has
about
been
it.
2 weekends.
Yes.
Let's do a quick, like 3 minutes each. Levi, what did you do this weekend?
Detail the car.
Nice.
There you
Okay.
go.
What else do you do?
That's it.
Is that what kind of car?
It was a little a little Acura RSX
Oh,
Type
is that,
S. No, this is another one. My buddy
different
got it
one.
for
Oh.
free.
What?
Yeah.
Can I have it?
You know,
love
he'll probably sell it to you.
RSXs.
So it's
Oh.
kind of a maroon.
Don't want
It's
it.
got about 100 and I think it had about 120,000 miles on it.
What color interior?
Gray,
Ugh.
like the light gray.
Yeah, the worst.
This is old guy spec.
But the point
Yeah, this
is,
is
he
old
got
guy
it.
spec.
So he got it and had to go down to San Diego to pick it up. Flew down, picked it up, and drove it home.
Mm-hmm.
Noticed that the AC heater controls didn't work. I don't know how he got it for free. I think it's probably family friend or
Okay.
family, either his wife's side or his. I don't know. But basically, got it for free, brought it home, and then he put some wheels and tires on it because he works for Lush
Those are
Schwab.
good-looking
it's-
little
it's
cars
the-
once you dress them up.
Well,
a
it's the
little.
assistant manager of my buddy Wayne. So my buddy
I
Wayne is the
figured there had to
manager.
be some relation.
This is his
there.
guy Tom
Yeah.
that has been with him for like 12 years.
Yeah.
Well, because Wayne's daughter drives an RSX.
She
right?
does, yeah. So so Tom's like, hey, I got this RSX. I need to get it cleaned up. But he's like, it was free. So I'm slowly fixing the car back up. So when I drove it, super rough suspension on it.
Sure.
Kind of probably blown out. He said, heater doesn't work. None of the controls work. I've got a whole new unit coming to replace all the buttons and
But it was
stuff.
free, and there are a ton of parts out there. for it.
Exactly.
So-
The leather's kind of rough, could use some repair and some spots. But the
new
paint
seats
looks
in.
like it's been repainted a few times.
Oh,
different
okay.
because I noticed when I got into the paint, it was super gritty, like really gritty.
I'm guessing it's not a Type S.
It is a Type S.
It is? Oh, wow.
And it had a bunch of bubbles in the clear.
So it's
that
got a
it
6-speed
popped.
manual. And
So it was rough, really rough. It's got a 6-speed manual, but the paint wasn't bad. The back bumper probably needs replaced and repainted. But honestly, he's like, I'm not gonna repaint the back bumper. It's peeling, but it's not bad, and it's just the back bumper. The rest of the car looks fine. Clear coat was very hard on it because a lot of it was aftermarket. So I had like a
not
quarter panel and a
factory
door
Honda.
that came out really good, and then the rest of the car was really hard to cut. And so
Yeah.
I had to cut it all first, and then I just did Uno Protect on the rest of it because I clayed it to try and remove a lot of that grit that I thought was overspray. It wasn't. It was in the clear. Wet sanded it even with some 3000 and some spots, and nope, it was like full on just really
That's what happens.
porous clear. But anyway, got it cleaned up, got it looking good, took it back to him, and he was very happy with it. And then last night I had a weird thing happen that I made a video for that I sent to you guys.
Yeah.
And Dane, you're the only person out of our entire group chat that actually gave
the
a
video
thumbs
was
up.
sent to me in a very small
That's
little
weird
thing.
because it was on our group chat, which is all iPhones.
I know. So it was sent to me on a very
Very
small,
strange.
like all I heard is, "Hey guys,
What's up,
Master of
guys?
Shine
The
here."
Master of
We've
Shine
got
at
the
home,
video.
and
Oh,
today's what's up, guys?
There we
The
go.
Master of Shine at home, and today's problem on the way home to get pizza. The Elantra started running rough.
No.
Once it kind of got warm, like it started to run better, but it started to really freak me out. So I got home, took off this fancy cover. I think that's made of carbon fiber. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. But took the cover off. This plug wire was popped up.
Ooh.
This plug wire was loose. So pushed everything back down. Didn't fix the problem. Pulled it back into the garage. Popped that plug wire. Popped all of them off. And then proceeded to check the tightness of each spark plug. This one was completely loose.
Mm-hmm.
No idea how that happened. So I had a loose spark plug and a popped boot, which means the ignition fired and blew the boot up because the spark plug was loose. Anyway, thanks to my friends at Amazon, I've got a whole new set of platinum tipped plugs going in this bad boy. A whole new set of NKG spark plug wires
NGK.
and a new ignition coil pack.
but I guess it's
So,
the Amazon
Come
special.
Wednesday evening, this bad boy's gonna light some streets on fire, and you know what they say, race car problems, right?
Because
Yeah,
race car.
so NKG, my preferred spark plug brand.
Similar to
right?
the EKG.
It's like
car.
it's
I
like
got spark
it's-
plugs from them as well.
So yeah, so I got there's NGK and NKG. Which one is it? I said NKG, man. I can't afford the NGK. It's
man.
No, it is
fine.
NGK, but I said it wrong. But the point is, I don't know how that happened.
No par.
I don't know how that happened. Like, that's insane to me. I had 10 full rotations on that spark plug to get it tight.
That's-
It was all the way out.
At least you got new stuff in there, though. So...
Not yet. Comes tomorrow.
Oh, right.
So-
you don't have
10
it yet.
full rotations to get that spark plug in. That actually is pretty crazy, man. Considering that
lot.
that's like one of the first things that actually like seizes rather
Yeah.
than spinning loose. So I'm
Genuinely
guessing, dude.
surprised.
I'm guessing probably, and you're not going to do this. You can do a compression test,
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
That
It's a race car. What do you? That's how they live that way.
well,
Eat and breathe fire. I put a little nitromethane in that
Oh,
thing.
no.
It'll be all right. We'll seal back
just
up.
pour gas back into that, and you're like, just this will really.
I honestly have
So,
no idea how
sick.
possible
Funny idea.
it is.
Fun
Just
fact.
hit a big
After I did all that,
Knock
check
it
engine
loose.
light came on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, probably because of misfire or something.
Right, but the whole point was it'd been misfiring for like 2 hours prior,
Yeah.
and then I
Well,
thought I fixed because
it needs
I did.
to be
so
sure before it.
point is, I tightened
Says
that
in
back
the
down, put the caps back on, checked all the caps, made sure they were good on the plugs, then fired it up,
Mm.
drove it to the store.
Mm-hmm.
It still ran a little rough, but it was
Mhm.
better. So I don't really know. But once it warmed up this morning, I drove it to work. When it warmed up, no issues.
Sometimes the ECU needs a chance to like unlearn too.
Well, I'm gonna do is clear everything out.
yeah.
I'm just gonna clear everything
Yeah.
out on the
Wipe
the
it, let it
unit.
go, and
Well, Dane,
WD2.
so
You should have just a little code reader you can.
nope, Dane. All I'm gonna do is the old school method.
Oh,
Unplug the battery.
I'm gonna unplug the battery.
or that.
Then once you unplug both battery cables, you touch them together. It
Right.
grounds out the system, and you just leave them for.
And then you need to
20
reprogram
minutes?
your clock, and yeah.
Yeah, but it's a clock on the
I
car.
know.
It's 3 buttons. So
Anyway,
point is that was a fun adventure last
Yeah.
night.
all right,
So
okay.
what'd you
Dane?
guys do?
Dane, what'd
That's
you
the
do?
thing. This weekend I decided I was exhausted, so I pretty much slept through a good chunk of the day on Saturday.
Wow.
Barely remember any of that.
Sure
I
wish
did
I could have slept.
get myself some Express Cafe, watch some
Did
old
you
Top
really?
Gear.
Delightful.
Yeah.
No, you did.
I
not.
watched
Man,
the
did
second
you-
season
Dane,
of Top Gear.
Why couldn't I
because-
come over and hang out with you and spend the day
should've.
Did you
sleeping
get
in,
donuts?
watching some Top
Obviously,
Gear, eating
yes.
some breakfast?
Yeah. Got to get those old fashioned,
Express
yeah,
Cafe.
lovely cake donuts from Express Cafe. I don't push many things, but I will push Express
That is.
Cafe.
It sounds like actually. I wish I had that.
I just
My
love
kids
that
woke me
place.
up every day at
Yeah.
6:30.
Oh, that's good.
Super fun.
I'm sorry.
Went to bed at 1 o'clock
In,
every night.
In fairness, my dog has developed a recent habit, Callie, of going outside at 2 or 3 in the morning and just barking for no reason. Like, she didn't used to do that, but I think she's becoming senile in her old age. And
either
now
that
she's
or-
just going out there and just barking at nothing.
Either that
At
or
least
you have
hope
ghosts.
it's nothing.
Yeah.
And then comes back in after
Could be
an hour
ghosts.
of that. I'm
Could be
pretty
ghosts.
sure my neighbors don't enjoy it, but nobody's told me anything yet. I don't like being that guy, though, with the barking dog.
Well, get a shock collar for her.
That could be on the horizon. Any rate, so there was that. Enjoyed, for some reason, they had the second season of Top Gear, but they didn't have the first
Yes,
season. Like, you're not allowed to watch that for some reason.
Unless you want to pay for it.
Right, unless you pay for it. But
Wait,
I already
what?
pay for so many services, it's ridiculous.
You have to pay for that now?
Well, they've got it. Prime allows
Yeah.
for some of the episodes.
Yeah.
Prime
some of the
goes
seasons.
way back.
But what about Netflix? Netflix still have Top Gear on it?
No.
So the way I had to
What
watch
the
Top
heck?
Gear was to get the more modern stuff. They have it on HBO Max. Prime gets you up to a certain point, then you
God.
got to hop over to HBO Max. See, this stuff has gotten so crazy, and it's exactly what people feared.
Is there
back
anywhere
during
where
the early
can you
cable
just
cutting
buy?
days.
Can you just buy the full Top Gear disc
Yeah.
collection?
Yeah, you could just do that.
I'd
buy it
rather
on
just do
Amazon.
that and
But-
just have it.
I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of physical media anymore, unless it's like.
Well, dang,
you know,
it's the only thing that you
vinyl
actually
or
own,
something.
though.
Well, yeah. I have a lot of old DVDs I never watch. But any rate, so I had that. But enjoyed my delicious Express Cafe, dog bark in the middle of the night. Then came Sunday, I worked out a plan with
Some
Steve.
working out. Nice.
Worked out with
no.
Did some
Steve
weights?
there of Garage Slick.
Oh.
Do I look like a workout?
Oh, God.
So Garage Slick.
yeah.
No.
Guy
My friend
does
Steve.
excellent tinting, among other things. But he comes to our events sometimes.
Yeah,
He's
Steve's a
really,
great guy.
He really enjoys that. Great guy.
So what are you doing? Going to get the house windows tinted?
So I dropped off the Jag there since we had an opportunity Monday morning where we didn't come in until later. I dropped off the car there, and then Liz and I drove home, and I dropped her off, and then I brought the truck here. The Jag is getting
She could have just dropped you off, and then she would have had the truck to drive around.
right.
all
I
day.
didn't want to
It wouldn't have
overly
made any sense.
complicate.
Okay.
I want to have that mobility.
Oh, okay.
So
Sure.
yeah. And she's okay because she's got online classes she's actually getting
Oh,
into now.
oh,
so
cool.
she's going to be
Nice.
doing those.
Yeah.
So she still won't have to travel for it, but she'll have it. But at any rate, I dropped off the car and I talked with him for a while. He has huge dogs, by the way. I'm trying to remember what type of dog they are. They're like some kind of
Mastiff?
gigantic mastiff.
Cane Corsos?
I think you're a mastiff.
Maybe. I mean, they're extremely jowly.
Mastiffs.
And they got short, little pointy ears. They
probably-
remind me of mastiffs, but
Probably
they're
Neapolitan
just huge.
Neapolitan. Napoleon
Napoleon Mastiffs.
Regardless,
Mastiffs.
they are built like cows.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
dense.
No,
dogs.
they
So
do
when
have a
hop
weird
up
name.
on
They-
you,
they
you
have a-
kinda
they have
get
a strange
like
name.
Dogo
It's not
Argentino
Mastiff.
or something.
Yeah, maybe Dogo Argentinos.
But any rate, cool dogs, very friendly, but they come across as extremely intimidating the first
Yeah,
time you meet
yeah.
them. And when I have my mask
Did
on
he
and I
eat
walk
you?
in there, the dogs are like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, buddy."
Yeah.
And then they smell my dog and they're like, "Oh, he's cool." So I was all right there. But I got the car in. Steve kept it overnight last night, so I'm going to be picking it up today at some point. I got ceramic window tint.
Nice.
So it's like the fancy, nicer one. He's
carbon
got
ceramic, yeah.
really, really good. You could probably tell me more about it because I'm honestly not as well versed in this.
Well,
stuff, but
it's
you talked with
the
him.
highest end tint that oh my gosh, tint brands out there give not 3M, it's Suntech. Yeah, so Suntech. So Suntech, it's sold. I think it's called Suntech Carbon. I think it's just called Suntech Carbon Ceramic. It's the highest one that they have.
And the reason I went for it was
So is it
because
mirrored?
it was the
No.
it was the only option I could get that went as dark as I wanted
Yeah.
because what was currently
So
on
you
the
went
car.
over legal.
No,
so
I didn't.
you
I
went
didn't
illegal
go
tint?
limo. I didn't go limo. So
Well, you don't have to
I'm
go.
Actually,
You
I'm
don't
in
have
an
to go
acceptable
limo. You
level,
just
but-
go one
15,
shade.
it's 15 or 18%, somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
I'm in that 15 to 18 range, supposedly with this. But got rid of the old tint that was on the car since I bought it in Texas.
A little burned out.
Steve thought it was funny that the tint came from Texas because he's looking at it and goes, most Texas cars would have darker tint than this.
Right, yeah.
And the tint on the car, he's like, that car over there is like a 25, 35. This has to be at least like 35, 45.
Well, so I will say that a lot of what people don't realize is tint actually deteriorates.
Right.
Some of the older tints in the last 10 years. And so your tints actually get lighter.
That's what I'm kind of hoping the carbon
And
ceramic one
especially
actually
like
lasts
somewhere
a
where
little
Texas, they can go much darker than Idaho.
Yeah.
But my guess is that he probably went a normal legal limit of
True.
another state. Texas just bleaches out.
Yeah,
tint.
because I normally think like Texas, Arizona, you got some dark tint. A lot of cars there did. But the point was, The tint on my car was garbage. I was tired of it. It had like little nicks in it in the area where like maybe I got caught by something.
Yeah.
It was just generally not
Did you do a
appealing.
visor?
So I did get a visor.
Nice.
So I got down to where the sensor is at the base of the rearview mirror. So it's like right around the
Nice.
A1 line.
Ooh,
But
it's gonna
I
be
had
like
it,
driving a Batmobile.
I had it so it fits the line, so you don't see where the mirror comes down. It just matches it. So he's got a nice clean line across. So I can't wait to see it sometime today. See how it turned out.
Nice.
I'm excited.
Nice.
Dig it.
Black car, black windows. If I didn't look like a drug dealer before, I'm afraid how it's gonna look now.
Yeah,
But at
definitely.
the same time, I love that car, and I wanted to get something really good for it because I plan on keeping it for a while. So
Heck yeah.
that's that.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
me.
Cool.
What about you?
Well, my weekend was I was pretty tired, so
Yeah.
I was just, and it was a rainy weekend,
Yeah,
and
it
it was
was.
just one of those kind of like where you go outside and you're like, I want to go back inside now, and so most of my weekend, man, I would say Saturday morning, woke up. I slept in for a little while, woke up, ran some errands. I've been waiting on this junkyard car to go out to the junkyard, right? So at the junkyard, they have like this pre-area to where they're getting the title for cars, and then they roll them out to the yard
Where
themselves.
they taunt you with all
Yes.
the possibilities. And
So-
it's like, you can't have it yet.
There's this particular 99 to 2000 Honda Civic EX, a white one, right? Completely mint, right? The
Right.
entire exterior of this thing, interior, exterior, looks phenomenal. And I've been waiting over a week for this thing to get moved out. So
Like a
and
child
I've been
waiting for
calling
Christmas.
every day, like, hey, is that Civic moved out? And they're like, no.
I want it,
So I'm just
Daddy.
like, I'm just gonna start driving over there. So I just kind of cruise over there. It's not
Yeah.
very far, and I look out there. I'm like, dang, it's still there. But basically, I've been waiting because there's a ton of stuff on that car that I want to remove off, that I want to take off because A, it's worth some money, but also it looks like it might be in better condition than what I currently have. And so
Okay.
I might be taking some door panels off and some things
What
out
are
of the
the
engine bay.
odds you're far from the only one looking at that particular car?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah. And I seem to have really bad luck with, I think, people following me in life and like seeing like, oh, Anthony's looking at this junkyard thing. I'm going to take that from him before he gets
post
there.
it up on
And maybe I
Right.
can sell it to him.
Yeah, and that's my story of my life with the Dodge Ram. And so every time I go to find a part, somebody steals
Filter
it from,
guy got here again.
steals it from underneath me, freaking guys. So I know, really sad, right? Like when I start thinking about this, right?
Taking your junkyard parts,
guys.
so
these
you
I
are
want to
the-
go to the junkyard.
Guys,
They keep
we're
taking my
the
junkyard stuff
people
from
that
me.
you're listening to every day, and maybe even looking up to, and you're like, I can't wait
love
to
it.
be like him one day and go to the junkyard to find parts for my car.
Speaking of, I would like to run to the junkyard at lunch if anybody would like to come with me.
I am going to the junkyard. I'm going
Okay.
to that one though.
Oh,
So
I just need to run across the street.
This
So-
is real life, guys.
this is real life,
Real
and
life.
I like it as much as I would like to drive a newer car that I don't have to do this stuff with. It's this is more satisfying. So getting into it though, that was pretty much kind of like most of my weekend. Saturday night went out for my my mother-in-law's birthday. Went out to dinner, had a nice dinner with them, and then Sunday I was just kind of doing stuff around the house. So I finally have started to knock out my office at my house and started to. It's been still in boxes for like 4 months, and I don't know what the acceptable level of things being in boxes for
a
is.
year and a half, maybe 2 years after moving into a house.
That's what I kind of figured. So I finally went down to Katie's been on my butt. Like she's like, hey, if you're gonna buy any furniture, please buy like decent stuff that we can have for years on
Right,
end,
not just
right?
get a
like
cheap
like
something.
invest in stuff, right?
Right.
Not
So
placeholder.
I like to not listen to her and just do whatever I want to
Go
do,
get some
right?
plastic
How's that
shelving.
working out for you?
I went down to Target, right?
Nice.
Got myself a 5-tier rack or a 3-tier shelf rack, right?
yeah.
Built that stuff in 15 minutes. You know, it's made in Italy, by the way, right?
Finest.
So
Italian.
she gets home and I say, hey, look what I've done. She walks in there and she goes, did you buy this from Target? And I said, well, yes. But why does that matter? She's like, I told you, Anthony, if you're going to spend money, at least spend it on stuff that you want for the future. This stuff's not going to last more than a couple of years. And I say, first off, you're wrong. This is made in Italy. And this is
handcrafted.
handcrafted in Italy.
Yeah.
Some of the
Target's finest.
Some of the finest
It's part of
wood.
the Target Reserve collection.
This
So
is
yeah,
the Ferrari.
it is extremely nice, and yeah. So she was kind of a little mad at me that I didn't go to like down to RC Willie or anything about that. But you know
RC
what?
Willie's too expensive.
I'm saving us money, right? I spent
furniture's, like, right in the
like
middle.
$60 on all of that shelving versus what, $600, right?
Right. Well,
I like to think that I'm playing it smart.
I agree with you. Like Carly and I did that same thing,
Yeah.
but we said as long as it's got real wood and actual steel in
Yeah.
it, we're okay.
Made
Real
from
wood.
real
I mean, like,
things.
what is real wood
Well,
even?
has
This guy.
actual pieces of lumber in it.
Okay, I'm pretty
He's
sure.
got MDF
this is
with like a veneer painted
like
on
a
the
As long as it
outside.
wasn't veneer with MDF, we were
There's
okay.
like there's like cotton in this. I
You
don't know.
sneeze on it and it gets soggy and just breaks.
These shelves are made of cotton, glued together. Is this
Guys,
ramen?
this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
So, no, if you feel it was safe, is quality. I mean, really, the biggest thing is kids destroy everything.
True.
Carly and I thought when we bought our house, let's buy some new couches,
Mm-hmm.
get ourselves some nice furniture. Finally,
Enjoy it.
with the new house, we'll put in some nice couches in the front living room. It'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
My kids, in 2 years, have completely destroyed those couches. So,
Yeah.
Anthony,
Yeah. So
that's all you got to be worried about. The only thing that's going to destroy those are either going to be your dogs or your future children.
I know. So I think about that kind of stuff, right? Also, so other things, right? In the techie side of things, right? So I'm really regretting not buying a PlayStation or an Xbox because apparently those are worth their weight in
those are
gold.
impossible to find.
Apparently,
I wanna get a
I could have
Series
just
S, but no.
pre-ordered one and made $500 in like a day, right? And
Yeah.
just scalped it, or if I wanted to do that. So I'm kind of regretting not doing that,
But you
right?
didn't because you're not a monster.
And I'm not a monster, right? And so I let other people do that instead, right? And but that is one thing where I was like, I've been kind of watching and talking to Katie about it. I said, hey, are we an Xbox family or a PlayStation family? And she says, well, what's wrong with your PlayStation 4? And I said, well, there's nothing wrong with my PlayStation 4, but I want to be able to play like the next generation of games with my friends.
It's that
And-
meme where it's like we have PlayStation at home.
Yeah,
He's showing it's like a cardboard box
I know,
with some
and
controller
so-
and a kid playing with dolls on a TV. Like
I'm trying to tell Kate, I'm like, hey, it's just not the same thing. She's like, you have a perfectly good running PlayStation. You
do.
And yours
Anthony,
is
I have
just
an original
fine.
Xbox. That's what I use.
So I was
From
telling Katie,
2003.
and I'm like, so like, are you going to give me permission to buy one of these or not? And she's just like, well, we're going to be a PlayStation family, not an Xbox. And I said, well, I think the Xbox has more games that I want to play, like Forza and things like that. And she said, no,
Forza.
Xbox is for 13-year-old boys, right? And she's like, and that's going to be really weird if you're playing online with a bunch of 13-year-olds. Play with adults on PlayStation. And I said, wow, that is quite the assumption.
that is built in.
that is built in.
There's
I
some
think it was the
past
aesthetics.
trauma there that she
I
hasn't brought
I think
up.
it's the
I guess
aesthetics
so.
of the machine.
I
Yeah,
guess
like,
so.
looks more
so,
adult.
So apparently, we're a PlayStation family.
I don't know if
you
you've
know,
seen the
through
PS5,
and through.
That thing it's got like wings on it.
It looks pretty odd. And but next to that, right, I had some issues because I called Dane. I said, "Hey, Dane, I got this new phone that I'm wanting to set up. Right, this new
I
iPhone.
told you guys you're going to have
12 Pro
issues because we
Max."
all got new phones.
Yep.
And I told
And
him, I
I
said,
ran into some with mine, but
Oh, yeah.
was able to
Well,
clear them out.
I'm thinking this can't be that hard, right?
Right.
I got this new phone. I waited for my screen protector in my case. I got everything, got it all installed. And so I called Dane. I said, hey, Dane, you just did this the other day. What the heck do I do? Dane begins to proceed to talk to me for about 15 minutes,
You
right?
fell asleep.
And he talks to me in a giant circle, right?
Uh-huh.
And all I heard was, and 3 hours, 4 hours later, and I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, Dane, you just talked to me for 15 minutes and you didn't give me any information on anything I need to do. He's like, yeah, to be honest, it was just kind of a luck situation. And I'm like, Dane, I just need to know
That's
what is my
literally
plan of action.
When we
right?
left Friday night, you guys got your phones and you're like, yep, we're going to go do this. And I said,
Not that easy.
not that easy.
It was easy, but certain parts of it,
Just
not
so
easy.
you know, not easy. And Jeff goes, no, it was a piece of cake. And I said, Jeff, did you have any problems with your phone? And he goes, well, I had a bunch of issues. And I go, right, so did I.
Yeah.
I'm just warning them that
Right.
they're going to have issues.
So, for those who don't know, to lay it out in very simple terms, getting your data transferred from your old phone to your new phone with the iPhone, very simple, very easy. That part's easy. Getting the cellular activated was the part
Right.
that took me for effing ever.
Okay,
That part
so-
was the pain.
Back to what I'm saying. Dane tells me 3-4 hour time window, lots of going on and off. He's like, there was a lot of double checking with two phones in
Right,
hand.
yeah.
I'm stressed. I'm
Right, he is
sweating.
very
I'm
stressed.
At one
sitting
point,
here
I thought I had
sweating.
actually deactivated
Carly was out
cellular
shopping,
on both my phones.
and she goes, did you change over your phone yet? I said, no, I'm going to wait till you're in the house. Because
Yeah.
what happens if I need to make emergency phone call or something happens to the
right?
kids and you're not here and I'm kind of in between phones.
At one point, I physically switched the SIM cards, realized that was a bad idea.
Why did you
switched them
do
back.
that?
So listen.
Bad instructions
This
online.
is even worse. Guys, if you're with
That
me,
is not part of the
this is
instructions at all.
everything that I'm taking in for information, and I'm like, good God, man, I'm about to go into like heart surgery here.
Yeah.
And so that's when I said, you know what, let's just jump into it. So this is what I did, right? Because Dane, the final piece of good advice he gave me before I got off the phone was he was like, yeah, you might be able to go to AT&T/activations, and that might help you.
That's where you go.
And listen,
Yeah.
and I said, all right, Dane, I'm getting off the phone. I'm trying this.
I tried to shortcut to
so
that.
This is what I did, right? I took my old phone. I turned on my new phone.
Right.
I brought my old phone to my new phone. It says, hi, would you like to transfer all of your information? I said, yes. It says beginning transfer. It transfers all my information. It says enter this passcode, enter this passcode, enter this passcode. I do it. It says estimated time, 20 minutes. What happens? I wait 20 minutes, right? And it says, congratulations, your new phone is set up with all of your old stuff. And I said, you're completely right. This is my old phone into my new phone. This is amazing. So then what I did, I took my old phone, or I took my new phone. I went to AT&T.com on Wi-Fi.
Exactly what I told you to do to avoid my headache.
/activations. It says, enter your phone number. Enter your zip code. Do you want to transfer your old phone number? I said, yes. And then it says, congratulations, your new phone setup is complete.
Right.
My old phone says, you no longer have cellular service. My new phone says, try restarting this phone to get cellular service faster, or whatever it says.
Yeah.
I restart my phone, and that was it. Now, do you want to know how long that took me? That took me, right, with even the transfer time, it took me about 40 minutes, right? Not one single headache or hiccup, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of the easiest things I've ever done.
I suffered so you could succeed.
Basically, so what I got out of this is I was like, don't overthink this, right? And I had to literally fast forward through everything Dane was saying. I'm like, just get to the part that I need to know.
Yeah. No, my issue was John gave me everything, said it's all there.
Yeah.
So I go to the AT&T and go to the activate.
See, ours didn't have that paperwork.
I go to the activate and it says, doing this is this your new business phone? I said, yes. Da-da-da-da-da. Do all the stuff.
Oh, yikes.
Transfer all this over.
Yeah.
Say, yes. It goes, please double check all these numbers on this piece of paper. And I go, I don't have that piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then it'll look on the box. It's
Your
not on
box
the box.
has the
Nope, the box had
IMEC
my
on
box had none of it.
What?
So I'm like,
Ours had it.
Carly, I'm crazy, right? Where's this at? She's like, oh my gosh, it's not here. I called John. I go, where is all this stuff? And he goes, should be right there. I said, it's not. None of this is here.
It's like the serial number to make sure
None
that
of
your
that.
phone is
None of
the
that.
one that he
And
says it is.
He's like, oh, it's here on my desk. And I said,
Yep.
I've already started the process. Everything's transferring.
Yeah.
It's already updated and all that.
Yep.
I was like, so I hit the next button, just said, sure.
Here we go.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Everything finally transferred over. Everything worked.
Good.
But it was frustrating to go, like, get it started, have that thing, go to the activate, have to try and find stuff, tear my house apart looking for where did it
paper that
go,
didn't
where did that
exist,
happen, what
yeah.
happened.
It was an hour and a half before I found out about the att.com/activation.
It's in the box.
There
No,
was
we
no
didn't
You
have
didn't
paper
have
in
the
our box.
card,
No.
and it was literally
No.
a card that came in the
Nothing.
box.
Nothing.
Literally, the phone.
I got the brown box
card
with the
that-
phone box
Yeah.
with the card and the receipt.
I had a phone.
There was
That's
no
it.
carrier
I literally
specific
had a
Oh,
stuff
phone.
that's
there
all
at
you got was
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it.
You guys.
So
Yeah.
that was it.
It's all right. All right. So Dane, let's go ahead and take it home.
Yeah, why don't we? So, guys, obviously, thank you so much for watching. As you do, if you're new here, it's been quite an adventure. So, if you're new, make sure you check out old episodes. There's a lot to catch up on. But we made it this far.
We did.
And we spent at least part of our afternoon unenjoying Vegemite. So, there's that.
Yeah.
Any rate, that's it. That's final. TRCMA was a success as far as I'm concerned, and I
Yeah.
hope you feel the same. Please let us know all about it. Go watch it if you haven't seen it already. It is on the Rag Company YouTube channel, the main channel, not the podcast channel we're on right now. And if you haven't already, subscribe to all of them. And if you're listening to this sometime in the future, just go check it out.
There
it's
you
on
go.
your phone. Just pull up
Easy.
the app, and that's that. All right, guys. So, from all of us here at the Rag Company, take care. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.